My wife had always been predictable. Not boring, just steady. The kind of person who liked routines, who texted when she was running late, who believed sleep before midnight was non-negotiable. So when she started coming home at 2:07 a.m., I noticed. The first time, I told myself it was nothing. She slipped into the bedroom quietly, shoes in hand, hair pulled back like she'd been moving fast. When I asked where she'd been, she smiled tiredly and said, "Work ran late." I kissed her forehead and let it go. The second time, I noticed a smell. Not perfume, not alcohol. Something else. Metallic, like rain on concrete. Again, she said work. By the third time, it was a pattern. Every Tuesday, every Thursday, always between 2 o'clock and 2:15 a.m. And she was changing. She started showering immediately when she got home. Even in winter, her phone was always face down. She stopped telling me stories about her day. Conversations became shorter. Smiles became practice. One night, while sleeping, I checked the clock. 2:11 a.m. She wasn't home. I lay there staring at the ceiling, my chest tight with thoughts I didn't want to have. Was she cheating? Was she lying? Was I about to lose a woman I trusted more than anyone? When she finally came in, I pretended to be asleep. But this time I made a decision. The next time she left late, I was going to follow her. Not to catch her doing something wrong, but because not knowing was destroying me. The following Tuesday, she kissed my cheek at 9 p.m. and said she had a late shift. At 11:40, I heard the garage door close. I waited 5 minutes. Then I grabbed my keys. I followed her car at a distance, heart pounding, rehearsing excuses in case she noticed me. She didn't go to a bar. She didn't go to another man's house. She drove past the city lights, past the familiar streets, and into a part of town most people avoided. An old industrial district, warehouses, empty lots, flickering streetlights. She parked behind a low concrete building with no sign, no windows, just one dim light over a side door. I pulled over 2 blocks away and got out of my car. That's when I saw her do something that made my stomach drop. She opened her trunk and pulled out a duffel bag. Heavy. Whatever was inside made the zipper strain. She looked around once, nervous, then disappeared to the side door. I stood there in the darkness, realizing one terrifying truth. Whatever my wife was doing at 2:00 IT wasn't fair, and it wasn't safe, and I was about to walk straight into it. I waited longer than I should have, long enough for fear to argue with curiosity, long enough for my brain to beg me to turn around, get back in my car, and pretend I'd never seen any of this. But the image of that heavy duffel bag burned in my mind. I crossed the street and pressed myself against the side of the building. The concrete was cold and damp. The air smelled like oil and rust. The side door she'd entered was closed. No sign, no cameras, no security. That should have been comforting. It wasn't. I tried the handle. Locked. I moved around the building, heart pounding, until I found a narrow alley leading to the back. That's where I heard it. Voices. Muffled. Urgent. And my wife's voice was one of them. I froze. I edged closer, careful not to kick loose gravel, and peeked through a cracked window barely wide enough to see inside. What I saw didn't make sense. The room wasn't empty or abandoned. It was bright, harsh white lights overhead. Folding tables lined the walls. Medical supplies. Coolers. Clipboards. And people. At least 8 of them. Men and women in plain clothes, all moving with quiet efficiency. My wife stood at the center of it all. Calm. Focused. Confident. Not the tired woman who came home at 2 a.m. She unzipped the duffel bag. Inside were sealed containers, neatly labeled. She lifted one carefully, like it mattered. "Vital stable?" she asked. Her tone was different. Professional. Commanding. A man nodded. "Barely. You're just in time." Just in time for what? That's when I saw him. A teenage boy, maybe 16, lying on a makeshift bed. His face was pale. His breathing shallow. Blood soaked through a bandage on his side. My stomach turned. My wife stepped closer, slipped on gloves, and leaned over him. "It's okay," she said softly. You're safe now. Safe? From what? I took a step back, my mind spinning. Was this illegal? Was she in danger? Was I? My foot scraped against the concrete. Too loud. Inside, my wife's head snapped toward the window. Her eyes locked onto mine through the crack. The moment stretched. Her expression didn't show guilt. It showed fear. Not for herself. For me. The door at the back of the building burst open. Someone shouted, "We've got company." Footsteps thundered toward the window, and my wife did the last thing I expected. She shook her head at me, a silent warning. Run. Before I could move, hands grabbed my jacket from behind. A rough voice hissed in my ear, "You shouldn't be here." I twisted, heart hammering, staring into the face of a man I'd never seen before. And then my wife screamed my name. Everything happened at once. The man holding me froze when my wife's scream echoed through the building. "Let him go," she shouted. Her voice cut through the chaos with a force I'd never heard before. The room went still. Even the teenage boy on the table stirred. The man loosened his grip, just enough. "That's my husband," she said, stepping forward. "And if you touch him again, I walk. Right now." Murmurs rippled through the room. The man hesitated, then released me. I stumbled forward, breathing hard, my heart racing so violently I thought it might tear out my chest. My wife grabbed my arm and pulled me away from the window. "You followed me?" she whispered. "I had to," I said. "You were disappearing every night. I thought you were..." "Cheating," she finished quietly. I couldn't answer. She exhaled, steadying herself, then turned to the others. "Give us a minute." No one argued. She led me to the far corner of the room, away from the boy, away from the supplies, away from the truth I was terrified to hear. "I'm a volunteer," she said, "for an underground medical network." I stared at her. "We treat people who can't go to hospitals," she continued. "Undocumented workers, runaways, abuse victims, people hurt by gangs, by traffickers, by men who don't want questions asked." My eyes drifted back to the boy on the table. "He was stabbed," she said softly. "If he'd gone to the ER, they would have found him. He wouldn't have survived the night." "You could have told me," I said. She nodded. "I wanted to. But the rule is simple. The fewer people who know, the safer everyone is. Including you." The weight of it settled into my chest. Every late night, every exhausted smile, every lie by omission, not betrayal. Protection. "I wasn't coming home at 2 a.m. because I didn't care," she said, her eyes shining. "I was coming home because I couldn't leave them." I swallowed hard. "Are you in danger?" She hesitated. "Yes," she said honestly. "Sometimes." I looked around the room again, at the supplies, the people, the boy whose breathing was finally evening out. And I understood why she kept going back. Sirens wailed faintly in the distance. Someone cursed under their breath. "We need to move," a woman called out. My wife squeezed my hand. "You shouldn't be here. But now that you are, I need to know something." "What?" I asked. She searched my face. "Can you live with this? The secrecy, the risk?" I didn't answer right away. Then I nodded. "Yeah," I said, "because now I know why you keep coming home." She smiled, tired, relieved, real. We left through separate doors that night. I watched her disappear into the darkness, carrying another duffel bag, another life on her shoulders. She came home at dawn. No words were spoken. She crawled into bed beside me, safe for now. And as I held her, I realized something that changed everything. I hadn't followed my wife because I didn't trust her. I followed her because I was afraid of losing her. And it turns out she was saving lives, one night at a time.